Illustrator has a total of 8 symbolism tools whose sole purpose in life is placing and modifying symbols in different ways. Let's explore these tools to get a better understanding of how they work and how you can use them. Now, I'm beginning this video with the symbolism.ai file already open, and I want to point out that in the Layers panel, I'm working on the Symbols layer, just so that I can isolate these symbols to their own layer without affecting anything else. Now, I'm going to begin by coming down here in my Tools panel and clicking on the Symbol Sprayer tool. And actually what I'll do is click and hold on that, and then I'm going to click on this strip to the right to pull this panel out to make it a little bit easier for me to see the options available. Now, the Symbol Sprayer tool, as well as the other symbolism tools, are based off of a brush size, which determines the affected area that you're going to be working with. And you can use the left and right bracket keys on your keyboard to make that area bigger or smaller. You can also double click on the tool to bring up the symbolism tool options. And you can see that each one of the tools has their own set of options that you can choose from. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this, and so I'm going to use the Symbol Sprayer tool. And I'm going to go to my Symbols panel and choose which symbol I want to spray. So I'm going to start by using the sailboat symbol, and I'll go ahead and zoom in down here in the lower left corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click, and that's going to place one of those symbols in that area. Now you may be wondering, well, what's the difference between doing that and just dragging a symbol out? Well, I'll show you. If I click again, you'll notice it creates a second symbol, but you can see that they're grouped together in what's referred to as a symbol set. So if I click again and click again, you can see that every time I click, there is a symbol added to the set. Now, you can also, of course, click and drag to paint a boatload of symbols, and you can see how it just paints as many symbols as you drag. Now, I'm going to undo that to get back to this symbol set. Maybe we'll click one more time, and you can see that I now have 5 symbols in this set. Now, in addition, you have the Symbol Shifter tool. Well, what does that do? Well, using this tool, if I click and drag in an active symbol set, you have to make sure that this symbol set is active, and you can just Command click to make it active, or Control click on Windows. And with the Symbol Shifter tool, I can click and drag to shift these in different ways. Now, in addition, with this tool, if I hold down the Shift key on my keyboard and click on a symbol, it's going to bring it in front of the other symbols. And if I hold down Shift Option, it'll send it to the back. So not only can I shift these symbols, but I can also change their stacking order. Now, the third option is the Symbol Scruncher tool. And the Symbol Scruncher tool job is to scrunch them together. So I'm actually going to make this brush a little bit bigger, and you'll notice that when I click, it's going to scrunch all these symbols together. If I hold down the Option or Alt key, it's going to push these symbols further apart. So depending on what your goal is, you can create the appearance that you wish. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the Symbol Sprayer, and I'm going to put some shark fins down here. So I'm just going to Command or Control click to deactivate that set, make my brush a little bit smaller. And I'm going to grab the shark fin. I'm just going to go ahead and place a couple of these shark fins down here at the bottom. Now, you also have the Symbol Sizer tool. So if I click on the fourth button here, the fourth tool, I can click on one of these shark fins to make it bigger, or if I Alt click or Option click, it'll make it smaller. So I want this fin in the foreground to be a little bit bigger. And the other thing I want to point out now is I'd actually like this fin to be going the other way. So unfortunately, I can't do that with any of the symbolism tools, but what I can do is I can go to the Object menu and choose Expand, and I'll expand the object and the fill. And then we can go to Object and choose Ungroup. And now using the Selection tool, each one of these is still a symbol, it's just not part of the set any longer. So I can go ahead and flip this, and now I've got one going the other direction. Now I'm just going to go ahead and reposition my artboard here, and I'm going to click on this symbol set once again. We also have the Symbol Spinner tool. And as you can imagine, the job of this tool is to spin the symbol. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And now I can click and drag to spin the boats. Now I don't exactly want them to be capsizing, but maybe I can just spin them slightly to make them appear like they're bobbing in the water. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some more symbols. I'm going to move up here to my main artwork. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And using the symbol sprayer tool, I'm going to click on the first symbol, the trees. And I'm going to go ahead and click 3 times. I'm going to place a couple of symbols up there. We need maybe 2 symbols there, maybe another cluster over here. And you could just place as many of these symbols as you wish. And of course, the symbol sizer tool would be a good option to use here. We can make some of these bigger. Alt or Option click to make some of them smaller, and really create a nice random look. You make it look like they're not all the same. That looks pretty good. Now I'll go ahead and Command or Control click off of those. Now the other thing I want to point out that we have is what's called the symbol stainer tool. Now I'm going to grab the symbol sprayer again. I'm going to place a couple of these tents in here. And I'm using the one without the shadow to demonstrate this, because the symbol stainer tool's job is to take an existing swatch and stain the symbol using that swatch. So if I go to my swatches panel, I'm going to go ahead and grab this red swatch so we can see the difference here. And if I click and drag across these, you can see that I've now stained some of these symbols. And we can drag again. You can see that depending on how long you click on these or how many times you click, you're going to get different levels. And I can hold down the Alt or Option key if I want to lighten the stain. If I went a little too far, you can kind of use that key to undo a little bit of what you've done. And this tool often benefits from the ability to change the symbolism tool options. You know, in my case, I might want to use my pressure sensitivity on my Wacom tablet. So I could go ahead and now when I drag over this, I get a little bit more of a subtle effect. And even when I Option or Alt click on that, I can lighten it without as much intensity. So that's the symbol stainer tool. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. We also have the symbol screener tool. And the job of the symbol screener tool is to lighten the opacity. And again, if you double click on this, you can see that you can choose the method that's being applied. You can also choose how the intensity is applied as well. You have a lot of options to choose from here. So you'll notice if I drag over this now, I'm actually going to be reducing the opacity. It's actually screening these items to the point where we can start to see through them. See how we can now see the background through those? And if we go to the transparency panel and we click on one of these objects, if I open up the transparency panel, I can't actually see the opacity that's being applied, but it is in fact screening the opacity of those objects. And you can also use the Alt or Option key to increase the opacity that's being applied. So if you went a little bit too far, you can Alt or Option click, so now it's not quite as transparent as it was before. And then last but not least, we have the symbol styler tool. And the job of the symbol styler tool is to apply a graphic style to a set of symbols. So if you go to your graphic styles panel, you can see that we've got a couple of interesting graphic styles here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, and if I drag across, you'll see that we are now subtly applying this graphic style to these items. You can see how that now applies the graphic style to those particular symbol items. As you can see, these symbolism tools have huge potential when creating artwork in Illustrator. Practice using them on your own, and I'm sure you'll appreciate their power as well.